Hey everyone. So when I was looking at the Horizon report, one of the things that stood out to me the most was the collaborative learning piece. Now, there were a lot of different topics that really I felt I could analyze and really kind of get my head around. But the collaborative learning and student outcome was really at the forefront of my passion, which is high school teaching. I feel that in my classroom right now, students are in groups of 6. And so throughout my class period, students are constantly discussing the material, constantly adding to the material, and hopefully improving their understanding of the material as well. So instead of me being kind of at the head of the class, I'm really more of a facilitator. And so we talk about different concepts, mathematical concepts and financial concepts, and then they really kind of build on what they have on their prior knowledge, and then what we can share as an entire group and in small groups. And so I really loved the idea of, that learning is a social construct because I really strongly feel that this is kind of at the forefront of high school learning. And I think that when students are able to discuss together in groups, it increases student motivation. It definitely increases achievement. And with the use of digital tools nowadays, I think that we can really expand our collaborative learning, not only to encompass what's happening inside of our classroom, but what's happening outside of our classroom. So this could even be on a global level. And so when I was looking at questions quantitatively and qualitatively, I really had kind of two questions that came to mind. So first and foremost, what aspects of collaborative learning help increase student outcome and achievement? So we know that there are a lot of different digital tools that we could potentially use, and we also know that there's different styles of collaborative learning. We know what collaborative learning essentially is, but what specific aspects of this learning process could we use to help our students perform better? And then also, how can we improve collaborative learning practices? Because again, I hear a lot of teachers tell me, well, based on this teacher, I was more successful, or based on that teacher, I was more successful. And so, what can we do as a whole? Like maybe kind of create a guide to best practices with collaborative learning. So, in my process of research, I found these 3 articles that really kind of helped me solidify my ideas when it came to collaborative learning and student outcome. And I divided them up into 2 different kind of categories. So, one was specifically collaborative learning approaches. So, what kinds of tools are teachers or professors using to help facilitate their learning? And then specifically, what areas of student achievement are we seeing through the process of collaborative learning? And so when we're looking at these, they kind of can go in either side, but I wanted us to really kind of focus on digital versus non-digital, and then qualitative data versus quantitative data. So the first 2 articles that I looked at were specific to the tools that they used. The first one was on sentence openers and role assignments. Role assignments is something that I already do in my classroom, but I don't utilize sentence openers. And so I thought this would be a really great article to utilize and see if it would be something that would be beneficial at a K through 12 level. And one thing that the researchers found here is they had 4 different groups. One group that was specific with both sentence openers and role assignments, one that just had openers, one that just had roles, and then one that had neither. They found that having the collaboration and the combination of both really saw more gains in student achievement and more gains in knowledge building. And so that was something that I think would be a really great aspect to look at when we're talking about what aspects of collaborative learning could help us improve that knowledge building. The other article that I looked at was specifically looking at escape rooms. Now, escape rooms are obviously very trendy, and so when we look at escape rooms, how could this tool be effective in gaining traction in collaborative learning? And unfortunately, although this article did find that there was more participation, it wasn't guaranteed because of the nature of the study. There was a lot of observations that necessarily this could be something that could be re-achieved through another study. So I wanted to include this in here because it is another digital tool that we can look at as far as the aspects of collaborative learning, but I don't necessarily think that this is something that I would kind of go back to. And then lastly, I really loved this last article, and it was because it had a lot of quantitative data on student achievement, and it showed that when we have specific group composition, it helped have more gains in student achievement. And so when the group is mixed gendered, diverse skills, and different abilities, that it basically helped increase that student achievement. And that was something that was really important to me. And so I think all three of these articles will help gain traction in finding my actual research question and really solidifying what I want to look at. So I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I will look forward to seeing you in class.